As a 3-year-old living in Carraway, County Antrim, Ireland in 1749, when Benjamin Franklin conducted his famous kite experiment and determined that lightning was electrical, John McLeese Sr. would have been too young to fully grasp or react to the scientific significance of the discovery. At that age, his world would have primarily revolved around his immediate surroundings, his family, the farm, and the rural life of his small community. However, news of Franklin's experiment likely would have reached Ireland gradually over time, likely through local clergy, educated members of the community, or traveling merchants. Since Franklin's work was groundbreaking and stirred excitement across the scientific community, by the time John was older, perhaps in his early teens, he would have been more aware of the concept. How it might have affected him. 1. Religious and superstitious. Interpretations. Growing up in the mid-18th century, people in rural Ireland still had a strong connection to religious and superstitious beliefs, especially about natural phenomena like thunderstorms. Lightning was often viewed as a sign of God's power, and many believed it was a form of divine punishment or warning. Franklin's discovery that lightning was electrical may have been met with skepticism or even discomfort among John's family and neighbors, as it challenged these long-held beliefs. As John grew older, he might have found himself caught between these traditional views and the growing influence of scientific discoveries. This tension between faith and science was a significant part of life in this era, and John might have been fascinated by the idea that such a powerful force as lightning could be understood and even potentially controlled by human knowledge. 2. Rural influence. In rural County Antrim, practical applications of electricity were not immediately apparent. Farming communities like John's were focused on survival, growing crops, and tending livestock. The idea of electricity as a scientific force would have seemed distant and abstract. However, as he matured and heard more about these discoveries, John might have viewed it with a mix of awe and curiosity, wondering how such knowledge could ever affect his daily life. 3. Connection to the wider world. John, like many rural farmers in the 18th century, would have lived in a relatively isolated environment. News of Franklin's discoveries may have provided a window into a rapidly changing world, reminding John of the advancements happening far from his small community. While it may not have had an immediate impact on his day-to-day existence, such events would have contributed to a growing awareness that the world was larger than his village and that science and progress were beginning to reshape society. John's potential reaction as an adult. By the time John McLeese reached adulthood, Franklin's experiments with electricity and the lightning rod would have been more widely known. Practical inventions like the lightning rod, which Franklin created in 1752, would have had a tangible impact on the way people in rural Ireland thought about lightning and storms. In farming communities where lightning strikes could easily cause fires, the introduction of the lightning rod might have been seen as a valuable and potentially life-saving innovation. As a pragmatic farmer, John might have embraced the lightning rod and the concept of harnessing electricity, seeing it as a practical tool to protect his home and family from the dangers of lightning. He may have heard about local churches or wealthy landowners installing lightning rods to protect buildings and might have been impressed by this newfound ability to tame nature. In summary, as a 3-year-old in 1749, John McLeese Sr. would not have been directly affected by Benjamin Franklin's discovery that lightning is electrical. However, as he grew older, he would have been exposed to the broader implications of this discovery through the gradual spread of scientific knowledge. By adulthood, he likely viewed it with a mix of curiosity, awe, and pragmatism, understanding that while scientific advancements like the lightning rod were remarkable, they were also useful tools in the practical world of farming and rural life in County Antrim.